Hidden away from the hustle and bustle of the city centre is a settlement that takes you back in time to the prehistoric era. Beneath the thatched roofs is a world that many of us will have forgotten, ready to be awoken.
This is our last major development we've done, and this came about because of changes in the curriculum. Quite a few years ago, Michael Gove, who was then Education Minister, decided he was going to reshuffle the curriculum completely. And one of the things he decided to do was put prehistoric on the curriculum for primary school children. And we just looked at it and did what we've always done, we adapt. We thought if it's on the curriculum, we'll cover it for schools. So I wrote a talk that could be taken into schools, because we do a lot of in-school as well as on-site, and trialled that in schools for a year, and schools loved it. I went in as a prehistoric man and talked about the history of the human race and how we ended up being the way we are, and brought artefacts to support it. And we thought that's successful enough, so we'll move on. So what we then did was we built a prehistoric village. And this village will take up to 36 children, a full class of children, and they live all day on site.
The children live as if they were a Bronze Age community, exploring every aspect of life as it was thousands of years ago.
What we're trying to get here is take history into the practical. We're going to make pots the way they would have done. They're going to dig in the fields, because by now we were farmers, very firmly established as farmers. They're going to grind flour to make bread. They're going to go hunting. We don't hunt real animals, but we do take them hunting and teach them hunting techniques. They're also going to handle artefacts and objects. And at the end of the day, we take them into this house here, and we tell them the story of Ötzi the Iceman, who's this guy they found in the Alps in 1991, frozen, who was 5,300 years old and perfectly preserved. It's also part of the idea that we're trying to get our children to understand that our ancestors were not all a bunch of idiots who wandered around going, oh, glug. They were intelligent, articulate people. They just couldn't read and write.
And for the staff, this is much more than just a history lesson.
It's about lighting a fire in people. And the fire you're lighting is their past, it's their culture. We're not inventing something. This isn't Game of Thrones, not that I'm knocking it, I've never seen it, but what we're doing here is trying to recreate aspects of their past. What we say to the children at the start of a prehistoric day is you're going to go on the longest journey of your life today, and it's your journey, it's the journey of the human race. And whether you're studying Roman or Viking or Saxon or medieval or Tudor, it's all about the history of this country and where we've come from.
Taking the classroom outside and complementing the curriculum is an important part of teaching about living history.
When we're building something like this, we look at what the curriculum says the children should be learning about. So what we have to do is look at what it is the schools need from it. And for the prehistoric curriculum, they have to understand a timeline of the human race. That's important. They need to know where we've come from. And they need to understand about the interaction of humans and how they developed and how different things develop, like belief systems. And it's simple things like that, getting the children to understand that you can learn a lot about you and about your world by looking at the way your ancestors dealt with things.
And for the children, living as a member of this community is a phone-free zone.
And they're not only learning about the prehistoric period, they're learning about social interaction, they're learning about teaching each other and learning, they're learning about focusing and concentrating on someone else and taking on board what they're saying and then implementing it. One of the things you will hear teachers and adults say again and again is that people appear to be losing the ability, particularly children, to communicate with each other. That modern technology is making it so easy for us that people no longer feel the need or are able often to have face-to-face conversations.
For everyone that works at Merton Farm, they hope that by the children living a day in the life of a prehistoric community, that they are not just filling a niche in the curriculum, but that they are inspiring the pupils to get excited about history for years to come. Abby Walker, That's TV.